All right, so here's my next mod. So I don't think I explained it earlier in the previous video to this one, but I noticed that I felt that this is this a B pillar? Well, this pillar here was a bit, the way they had it made, it was right about here, one stud over, and I made the window look a bit small. If I can, I'll try to throw in some before and after photos real quickly. That's basically what this is, real quickly, and so you can see how it differs. And I think this looks a lot better because if you look at the GTI, the windows are, the rear and the front are almost about the same amount of space and size, and so that looks about right. Also, it looked a bit far having this pillar back here with the driver handle up here, even though this, see, this whole door is right here. This doesn't make too much sense. One, I think this handle's a little bit far forward, and then this pillar would be back here, too far back, and also it only opens up halfway. You know, there's this, what is this? This trim that goes across. It should really open down to at least down to here, right above the side skirts area. So yeah, that already does not open correctly. Like, it's only half of it. It opens a little bit too much here, and also if the door opens on the real thing, it should take this whole part with it, right? Like this whole entire door comes out with the frame around the window. And so, yeah, this thing, the way it functions, is just not correct. And I mean, I'm never going to have this displayed with the door open anyways, and I'm not going to play with it in such a way where I would open it much anyways. So I figure it's just be important to get the look of it down as a more or less static model display piece. Oops, popping out here. And so, yeah, I think this looks a lot better. It just looks more balanced and closer. I would say the only other thing to make this look a little bit more correct is that I feel like the windows are a little bit like short. They could be up a little bit higher to make it even boxier. Um, Take for instance, I haven't taken this out of the thing yet, but here is basically a Mark II Golf, like what I'm trying to build here, but this is like a special rally edition, rally version, Golf Rally, you can see there. This was pretty particularly cool, but I don't think they ever sold this in the United States, and it's very limited. But it was really cool. Had a special, I think G60 motor. Um, I guess maybe it was more, if it wasn't the most powerful Golf at the time, kind of like an early, like my R32, or basically the Golf R series, what they call now, as a precursor, or the earliest one, I guess you could consider it. At least I would. And it also had actually a wide body kit, like the fenders had these kind of boxy, like wider, like fenders, I guess, that right over the wheels. They just kind of bulged out a little bit more. Sort of like, I forget what model is, but like the roughly the mid late 80s, if not possibly early 90s. Well, it's more mid or late 80s. BMW M3. Is it the E30 or 30? I don't think it's a 32. But anyways, it was kind of boxy like this, but two door, and it had a spoiler, but it had like a similar kind of fender work. But you can see, like, proportionately, you see how the windows are to the body. It's kind of tall. If you look at, like, say, the front door, the amount that's like from the bottom of the front window up is almost as much as the door itself going down. And so if you were to look at something like this, you can see the door is definitely, like, the body, the main bulk of the door here is, including kind of going down to the sides a bit, it's still a bit more than what's here. This could have gone up maybe at least almost, like, this window opened up to up here, and then the roof line was like up here. That might have made it look more correct, but I don't think I can mess with that. I think we're limited in a couple of things. One, the glass that we're using, it's only so high and it's angled a certain way. So that's going to be one of the problems. Like, unless I do without a windshield, which I don't really want to do. I really want to. I'm really kind of bugged by the fact that there are no rear back windows back here. It's just empty, and the best you can do back here is make it solid. I suppose maybe there'll be a way I could do that in here, but I have to think about that. I probably could. I mean, the way this is designed, if I could maybe, if it ends exactly where that part is, I have a shorter plate and then fill this up with like a black, wall, basically, and then that would be like sort of like rear, like heavy tinted windows in the back. That might be something I might do. Let me see if I want to attack that. But anyways, yeah, so I can't, this is the limitation of why, imagine I go up, this angle changes here is going to be even taller, right? So that's not going to match this angle here as well. And then I'd have to find a way to fill it up. And also, the way this is angled in the back, it's a specific angle. I don't know, it also might be, well, it is probably slightly more angled in than the actual car, but I think it's close enough. But if I brought it up more, there's no way that I don't think I can adjust the angle for this to match the new height, for it to this piece angle up and meet this roof line. Yeah, unless this was a 2x2 triangle pieces or like a 2x3, but that might be a little bit tall. I don't know. It seems more complicated, and I think overall, you got to take this. At least I have to take this in the same way as like a Speed Champion from Lego. Like, you can only get so much proportionately correct, given the limitations of the parts available. But if you can basically build around what you have to the best of your ability and get mostly the shapes, right proportions and shape, that's just about as good as you can get it for this scale and this style of car in speed. I would say this is pretty close to a Speed Champion size. I've got to fit the figure in there, but yeah. Let's see what else is there. I don't think, well, I haven't found any replacements for these. If I was going to do the lenses in silver, I might still find that. We'll see. Although I do kind of like that they're transparent. If anything, let me see if I can. I'll take a look under here. Well, I have to look at the parts again. I'm not even sure how this thing is made up. Is there like a plate? Are these two separate pieces? There might be a break there, and this is like one piece here that's stuck onto. Maybe that back piece was silver, then it would show up more silver on the other side. But my only fear about that is that then, if we can see around the outside of the headlights, you start to see the silver in the back of the headlights. I mean, it's kind of recessed, and with the hood, put this back on, with the hood back on, you may not see it, but I really don't want that to show like silver around the back, the corners of the headlights, if you know what I mean. So, I don't know. I have to think about that before I attempt that. Now, what was it? So, yeah, did I even get to parts I fixed it or modified? So, I did change out the tail lights. Are these down all the way? I guess so. I did change out the tail lights. They used to be just like these two amber pieces, which not quite correct. If they had amber, wouldn't be all amber like this. They were actually, I think the original taillights were divided into 3 colors, maybe a little amber in the upper corner if it was like this size, for instance, and then it'd be red on the bottom, and I think white or silver, whatever you want to call it, on the inside. So the two part would be divided, and then there'd be a solid, more piece that goes across for the reverse headlights, tail lights rather. But I'm copying something that I've seen, and I kind of did something similar with my old Golf, although I had 3 lines. I had like a, I think it was red, clear smoke, and then red on the bottom. Just the dimensions are a little bit different where I could do that. But these, I looked online to see some of the taillights that you could get for the Mark IIs back then. Some of the, I believe they're aftermarket, unless maybe the European ones. I can't remember. There's so many versions, but I always like the one where it's clear with red on the bottom, or smoke clear with red on the bottom, or maybe did they have smoke all around? The only other thing I was thinking of, because I was worried that the red might not pop out enough against the red body, but it is, from what I can tell, it looks different enough so that you can tell that it's red. I was almost debating keeping the amber just to make it still, pop out or somewhat differentiate from the red of the body, but I don't think the clear, transparent red, is really affecting the look of this too badly. And so yeah, I think this looks better for the tail lights, in my opinion. It just looks right with this instead of a solid block of amber back there. And you can see I changed out the window too. I had a couple. I scavenged my other place, my kids' Legos, for parts, and I was coming up with a couple of solutions. I was either going to keep this was in the back here. This is basically I replaced this with 2 rows of 1x6 black, and that's exactly the same dimensions as what these form up basically. Although maybe these are slightly thicker because there's this plate in front, as that might push the window out, but I think it's fine. It didn't have to be pushed out, the window, you know what I mean, to get out. I think it's basically in line with where it should be. But I wanted this to be more of a smooth. I didn't want all this texturing in the back. It's not, unless I was thinking, oh yeah, I have like this, I think they used to have this thing that was like a sort of like a sun visor that kind of added these lines and slits, I guess. But I didn't like that look. And so this looks more clean, and that just happened to work out. Otherwise, I was gonna do either keep these but remove the grill, these vented pieces, whatever you call them. Well, you can see. Where is it? Well, I didn't have like a 1x6 plate, so I had actually a 1x4. I think that's what this is here. And then I have and I have the 1x1 so I could put on the sides. So that would have replaced this row, or these 2 rows. I have 2 sets of those, and then it would have been smooth like that. But then you would have had still like a channel or a line running through in between the two here. You'd probably still have this channel right between the two, and I didn't want that. But just in case for some reason this didn't work, that was my backup plan, but I guess I don't need to go there. So that's cool, and I think this works. Alternately, I was gonna maybe keep maybe the top row, remove the slats, maybe put in a smooth I was gonna keep the top row and allow me to somehow make a top rear spoiler, but what kind of bugged me is that it can only be as wide as here, and it really should go all the way to the edge, and I don't think any way for me to carry it over there. So yeah, I kind of ditched that plan and just left it clean like this. So lastly, I'm going to see if I'm going to keep this or like add like a plate behind there to push it out, or also if that pushes it out too much, like I might see too much of an edge here. So maybe I might add just a layer of plate so that it's somewhere in between. Just add like an extra bit of body to the side without pushing it out too much. So I'm just going to experiment with that, and if that happens, I'll show it. If I think it's not going to work, then I probably will just not, and this will be it. This will be the final, probably the final form.